You are listening to SPN, the Sports Podcasting Network.
Good ball from Donovan to good Piatti. Piatti's ball. To finish with Didier Drogba to tie the game. Here we are, 22nd minute of overtime. Marshall, step behind the defense. Ruiz is in. Ruiz is shot. Ruiz. That's it. LA are the champions. He's in a race to get back. Beckham is going to try it over the halfway line, and he's going to hit it up the net. What a goal from David Beckham!
You are listening to the MLS Postgame Show, live on SPN Radio, powered by the Sports Podcasting Network.
Wondolowski settles, drives, he scores! Wando does it again, 1-1. Played off left side. And the blast is in far side, and it's 1-0. And the shutout streak of the Red Bulls is over, and so is the streak of games without a goal for Marco Caballo.
Good day, good night, and welcome to the MLS Postgame Show for Week 2 in Major League Soccer. And this week, there's a theme. Early goals and goals galore. Ugh. Minnesota. Oof. It's going to be a long season. What happened to defending? What happened to defense in week number 2 in Major League Soccer? That's the question tonight. Brand new feature tonight. The lines are open. You can give us a call right now, 1-802-731-0131. And you can give your opinions, if you have more than one, on what happened this weekend. Did your team win? Did your team lose? You can give us a call right now, 802-731-0131. Welcome to the MLS Postgame Show. I am Kevin Laramee. You can follow me on Twitter at Kev Laramee. And this show is interactive as well. Hashtag MLSPG on Twitter at Kev Laramee as well. Let me know what you think. I know it's late. It's late Sunday. Routine starts tomorrow morning. I know it's coming way too quickly. Or maybe you're on your way to work as we speak and you're actually reminiscing of that time not too long ago where you watched your team either win, lose, and if you're in Minnesota, get destroyed. But that's something else. Let's start with what should have been the second game of the weekend, but due to forecasted bad weather in Foxborough, the New England-Orlando game has been postponed into September. So we did not start the weekend with a New England-Orlando matchup, but we did start the weekend with a Chicago RSL matchup, and that's when the early goal started. The 11th minute for Nemanja Nikolic for Chicago opened up the scoring tally for Chicago in that game. Arturo Alvarez just 4 minutes later, but I have to say his name is not on the score sheet today. But yesterday, the week 2. So this week, Dax McCarthy's name is not on the box score, but he is instrumental in the early success of the Chicago Fire in 2017. Yeah, the Red Bulls are basically steaming, rolling, and charging at everything right now, like Toros do, with 6 points after 2 games. We'll get to the Red Bulls very soon. But the Chicago Fire, with their coach Vukulic, they're having a great beginning of the season. I love that head coach. The way last year when he came to Montreal with the Chicago Fire, it was difficult. Like, it was tough time. But the hope for the future, like, he had an idea. He had a plan. And the way he was talking to the journalists, I remember, he did have like a fire, a charisma, a knowledge of the game. He had that something, that intangible. I'm not surprised at all to see Chicago after 2 games having success 2-0 here against RSL. RSL looked terrible. 2 goals, Rimando. You remember last week when Rimando stopped a PK from Javinko? Well, that didn't happen tonight. Tonight, Rimando really had difficulty. Granted, the goals were deflections and a bounce off here and there and were not necessarily easy to anticipate. But Rimando didn't do what Armando did last week, and that's give his team a chance to be in the game late and, well, defeat for RSL in their second game this season. Chicago Firecrackers, no more the Fire, undefeated in 2017 after their 1-1 draw last week against Columbus. Now, interesting game. Red Bulls versus Colorado at Red Bull Arena. The Rapids had their chances, but this one, the goal came at the 45th minute. An own goal, unfortunately, by the former Montreal Impact player Eric Miller. It's unfortunate. It's an own goal. He was tracking back to the net, actually not even looking at the ball, covering his man. He slid. He went down. He wasn't even aware of where the ball was going in. Maybe he was caught man watching on that play. That could be a fair description, but he was at the wrong place at the exactly wrong time. If you're a Colorado fan, if you're a New York fan, he was at the right place at the right time. Tap in goal, a tap in goal for Eric Miller, but in his own goal. So Colorado gets their defeat here. Not necessarily they had a good week last week, but this week Colorado, unfortunate the way it happened, but they were totally dominated in many different aspects of the game. 13 shots for the Red Bulls, 7 shots on target for Colorado, 3, and only 1 shot on target. Crosses 13-22 for the Red Bulls. Total passes 566 compared to 354 for a possession of 61.2%. That is pretty impressive for the Red Bulls. Yes, you do have a lot of passes when you have the ball a lot, but when you do have the ball a lot at home, what it does make is it negates the chances. You just take time away from the Rapids to be effective. So they weren't, and the Rapids got their first defeat of the season in week number 2. Right, moving on now to a eventful game in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Union versus the Toronto FC, TFC, Jesus. And Jay Simpson, assisted by Chris Pontius and Harris Medunjanin at the 11th minute. Another early goal. This is really, Chicago scored early. Same in the last game. Well, that was the only non-early goal was Eric Miller. But geez, early goals this weekend. Jay Simpson opened the tally. Josie Altador with a PK on a tackle on Sebastian Javinko. Javinko left the game after that instance. It's not right now. Look here, injury update quickly. Appears to be a contusion, which is a deep bruise, not necessarily a bone bruise, but it's a contusion. So hopefully Javinko heals quickly, but Toronto FC for the second week in a row get a draw. They're undefeated, but you can say as well they are winless. So which one is it? That's the question. Altador buried that PK to level things up. Justin Morrow, misses the penalty kick late in MLS Cup final last year to give the win to Seattle. This time around, he buried a goal assisted by Michael Bradley, and CJ Sapong just 2 minutes later equalized for Montreal. Geez, that's a lapsus. Equalized for Union. CJ Sapong. A lot of red cards. Red cards galore. We saw. We'll talk about the games on Sunday later on when we talk about LA, but a lot of yellow cards this weekend. Same for Vancouver too, and that was it was a straight red to Ustad. So we'll get there in a second. Now, tough end of game for the Montreal Impact after a 2-0 lead. Late, like the 76th minute at the Big O, they conceded on a penalty. And eventually, Will Bruin finished that cross inside the box, 6-yard tap in for the draw late. Let's talk about the positive for Montreal. They were able to have better passing accuracy. Last week, they had a overall passing accuracy below 70%, which is not mediocre, but it's closer to that scale than acceptable. 79% is between acceptable and good, closer to good. 81, now you start talking about good to great. That's where it's 79% is good. Let's just put it at good. It was a good improvement from last week for the Montreal Impact, especially in the midfield. And that's where it gets interesting. Defensive midfield, the passing accuracy. The veteran wherewithal of those three players to make sure they didn't give up possession and they gave a viable chance of that possession to go forward, to continue by making accurate passes, by having 91.1, 94, and 84. You can go to CanadianSoccerNews.com, read my article on Kevin's Corner, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But that passing accuracy for the Montreal Impact in the defensive midfield was basically the catalyst that they needed to give a better time, like more time and more space on the wings. And guess what? Once the wings opened, once Oyongo had the space in front of him to be effective, to launch Piatti, to give Piatti the chance or maybe go create a chance for himself, you saw the same thing happen on the right side as well with Oduro at some point, but Piatti was drifting in and out as well. You saw those chances and you saw goals. 17th minute, Mario Mancosu, after a great pinpoint pass by who else? The Nacho Man. And Patrice Bernier set up the Nacho for the first goal of the Montreal Impact in 2017. That was at the 17th minute of the second game of the season. Ignacio Nacho Piatti, the Nacho Man himself, at the 51st minute, really gave Montreal a chance to win now in the second half with 2 goals at home. Another great assist this time by the captain as well, Patrice Bernier, 2 assists. And unfortunate that it was, first of all, it was called, like, both assists by Patrice Bernier were after the fact, once they rewatched the replay, basically. But they just announced the assist at like the 56th minute, and then he was subbed off at the 58th. And what was interesting for the Montreal Impact is once Patrice Bernier was subbed off, you did see a dip in possession, in accuracy and of possession when it comes from that pass from the deep midfield. So that was an issue going forward. And then the fitness issue that Evan Bush talked about, it's almost, not that it's unacceptable, but it's shouldn't get there. I mean, is it a syndrome, a symptom of the age of the Montreal Impact? I don't know. It's the second game. It's hard to say, but there was bigger bodies made big impact late in the game. Will Bruin scored the winner, the tying goal. Well, for what felt like a loss. So that's why I keep having that lapsus. Again, lines are open if you want to give us a call. 1-802-731-0131. This is the MLS Post-Game Show. Now, moving on from Montreal and Seattle. We'll just finish here. If you look at Montreal and Seattle, 18 crosses in by Seattle. Only one was truly effective. But you did have other questionable bounce. And Montreal were lucky to not have fall in the feet of the Seattle. 18 crosses in 7. But it only takes one cross judged badly for the Montreal Impact to concede. And this comes time and time again. And it's not a big issue. Second game of the season. It's not like there's pressure. There's no undue pressure. It's wide open. Like, the LA Galaxy are 0-2. So please, people, calm down. It's not that bad. Montreal Impact did have some improvement and showed some growth from the first game to the second game. So that is a positive to take for the Montreal Impact. And for the Seattle Sounders, where they got their first point of the season, Clint Dempsey was present at time. Thing for Clint in 2017 after the irregular heartbeat scare of last year. Now, Clint Dempsey is a poacher. He's a great player where he knows where he's at. He anticipates where the ball might bounce, and usually he's there when he needs to be. And that will be interesting because when you have Lodero and Jordan Morris working on the other side of that combination, there's going to be ball falling to Clint. So look for Clint Dempsey to have a few poaching goals this season. I would not be surprised at all. But Jordan Morris, very fast, speedy fella. He impressed me on that track meet of a pitch of the Stade pick. The way he was actually probably the fastest player on that day, on Saturday. He was even faster than Dominic Oduro. And that's something not easy to say. Nobody really can say that they are faster than the Dom men. But Jordan Morris was close. Like his acceleration was mind-boggling to me. He was just getting 2-3 feet in front of everybody easily. So that is fascinating to me to see how Jordan Morris is developing very quickly now in Major League Soccer with Seattle. And for Jordan Morris, well, keeps playing very well in Canada. And he won the MLS Cup in Toronto last year. And now he plays well against the Impact on that track meet of a pitch once again that didn't really favor Montreal against a team like Seattle. Continuing on the games of Saturday, Houston, they don't have a problem. They're good. Yeah. Fool me once, shame on me. No, you fool me twice, it's on you again. And I think it's if you fool me 3 times, well, it's my fault, right? Well, they scored 3 times. Columbus tried 14 shots on net. Only 14 shots, 5 on net. But what impressed me is go in the second minute, Romelu Kyoto. The Kyoto, Alex, and Kubo show. It's really it's a trio. So Kubo and his trio are having a ball so far for the Dynamo in 2017. It was all about Torres and how he would be. Would he motivation come back? Would it fitness, form, back from injury, motivation, or where is he at in his head, in his career, where he wants to go? Hasn't been easy since the demise of Chivas USA and his stint with the Dynamo. But now, Kyoto, Alex, and Torres are proving the prognosticators wrong. They might not be as bad as we thought. They look right now like they might be pretty decent in the Western Conference. But there's a lot of things happening that are really weird in the Western Conference. One of those things that is not really weird, and we did predict, a lot of people did. Dwayne did on Talker today, especially. Oh, Minnesota. Oh, mini. Oh, mini. Mickey Mouse right now more than Minnie Mouse, but Kansas City, Dallas. A more entertaining game than the score would tell. 0-0. Kansas City did have a lot of shots on long shots, only 2 on target. A lot of them were blocked by it says 0 block shot here, but when you actually watch the game, there was a lot more than 0 block shot for Dallas. Dallas made 7 change. Oscar Pereira 7 change from their winning lineup of week 1, and still got out of Kansas City unscathed. Didn't concede. Well, they didn't score, but they didn't concede. By the way, Kansas City, you might have scored on the field, but you scored in a lot of people's heart with your so nice jersey. That collar, I wasn't a fan of collared jersey up until this year. And now there's 2 collared jerseys that I really like in Major League Soccer. New York City FC looks pretty decent. Was that New York City? No, I'm mistaken. No, Kansas City. Oh, yeah, Seattle's jersey. Seattle jersey yesterday that I saw at Big O. Damn, it looks sleek. So sleek with the collar. How about you pop that collar, fella? And you really did like Kansas City's jersey too. But again, a game where a lot of red cards. A lot of why do I keep saying red? Maybe because it's like 1:20 in the morning. But a lot of yellow cards in Major League Soccer. Early goals and yellow cards in week number 2. But Dwyer, Sinovich. But again, Oscar Pereira, gambling. Oscar Pereira, 7 changes in his starting 11 for this game, week number 2. And gets out of Kansas City with 1 point. deserved one. 625 total passes for Kansas City, 85% passing accuracy, 68.4 possession. So it doesn't matter if Dallas is going to bend with only 31.6% of possession. They literally gave the ball to Kansas City at some point and were content by defending. They were content by getting experience to different type of players than week one. And so far, so good. Gets out of a challenge and a test and a gamble in week number 2 against a very potent team in the Western Conference that is probably earmarked to finish around the 5th, 4th spot, in my opinion, Kansas City. Dallas with 34 clearances. But the important thing is 67% of their duels won. 67 duels won for Dallas. So Oscar Pereira won that gamble. Now, crazy game here. Talked about early goals. Well, this time around, we had 5 goals in this game. Second minute, Eric Hurtado on a great kind of fluke play. The ball bounces and he's in the box for Vancouver versus San Jose. It was at Avaya Stadium again. San Jose are making quite a reputation of Avaya Stadium in 2017. But this started like Eric Hurtado. He's in the box. Ball bounces in front of him, and the goalkeeper the other player misses it, and he hits it in the air and just goes past the keeper. Second minute, 1-0 Vancouver on the road. Then Mezquela on a great pass finishes it. Far post, 17th minute, 2-0. Vancouver, what's going on? But then, Wando, he tripped in the box. Oosted. Yeah, how'd I hear? He got oosted out at a 23rd minute. Penalty was not converted, though, by Wando. But Wondolowski came back charging at the 32nd minute, assisted by Bernardez with his first of the season. Nick Lima with the second to tie it up at the 54th minute in the second. But this doesn't really explain how that game was nervous. They came close. Offside. 2 goals called back for Wondolowski for being offside. This could have been a blowout. It's all because of that red card, because before the red card to Ustad, Vancouver were doing pretty decent on the road with that 2-goal lead. They could have at least get out of San Jose with easily a draw and probably a win if it wasn't for that decision of the red card, which was granted. Alone on the keeper. The keeper comes out and kind of trips Wondolowski. He made contact. There was clear, definite contact between Ustad and Wondolowski. So, penalty, straight red, kind of black and white in the referee book in that instant. So, it's a clear-cut goal-scoring opportunity. You did impede him. It's a red card. The game changed. And the game winner, goal of the week, has to be 30 yards out. The same player that chipped Evan Bush last week, Anibal Godoy. About 30 yards out, curls it with the left foot. He's like, you know what? I can try it. And when he hit it, we all thought it was a cross or a lob. But then it gets like, it doesn't stop. It continues, and then it starts dipping. And then you're like, holy beep. It's flying into the corner. It's really flying into the corner. And it went there. And it got there. And that's a game winner for San Jose to win at home for San Jose. They had 21 shots. But that is a red card effect, you would say. 78% possession. That's all because of the red card. That game changed at the 23rd minute to be one-sided. And it could have been 5-2 easily, if not more, for San Jose. Vancouver, unfortunate. They were really up for it before that red card, but that bad decision by Usted to touch Wondolowski when he wasn't in a one-on-one situation led to that 3 points loss. This is a game that was winnable that you let go on the road. Hey, it could have been worse. You could have put Lennon back and let 3 points go from a home game, but no. You did it on an away game. And we'll see if that comes back to bite Vancouver. If late in the season they're a few points ahead or close to a playoff spot, we'll go back to week number 2. Or maybe we won't. We'll see. But it could have been week number 2 that cost them 3 points. Now, we talked about early goals. We've talked about goals galore. This sums it. New York City FC 4. DC United 0. For the third straight home opener in a row, David Villa scored twice. But the play that caught my attention is his assist on the third goal of NYCFC. That pass, that through ball between 3 players of DC United. Now, one of them had a chance of hitting that ball by reaching. And it just went to Morales. Morales finished it. It was 3-0. Fourth one was added by Villa at the 75th minute for a 4-0 win. DC United did get 13 shots, but only 4 of them found the target. I don't know how you can shoot the ball 13 times at Yankee Stadium and only have it fall on the target 4. Like, close your eyes and shoot it. There's a 50-50 chance it hits the target. But that's Yankee Stadium. Possession, again, was one-sided. But I guess we've seen home team, if you take Montreal out of the equation in that aspect, home team dominate the possession this week. And that is kind of interesting because I think it's due to the early part of the season. Teams don't feel they're ready for it. So you're on the road, you're away. Give the onus of play to the home field. And don't square up against them. Just run around the circle. Jab, jab. Back up, back up. And if you have a shot, you're going to go for it. But if not, at least, hey, you can get out unscathed. You can pull a Dallas. But a lot of them got caught. And DC definitely got knocked out in that one. Just like Stevens. But that's something else. Congratulations to David Lemieux. But we're not here to talk about boxing. But if we had to make an analogy, the Loons went down for the count. Didn't get back up. Stayed down. Bell rang. Done. Minnesota's going to be very terrible if they don't learn how to defend. 3rd minute, Joseph Martinez scored. 10 minutes later, Almiron scored. He's on a one-on-one situation. Left foot shot, top left. Boom, nothing the keeper can do about it. Joseph Martinez was a far post. He scored a second. Then Kevin Molino gets, first of all, orange ball. Snow. Coldest game in Major League Soccer history. What else you want to know? I think it was the coldest home opener. I don't think it was the coldest game in history. Maybe it was. I don't have it in front of me. But if you want to have an historical game, we did. We saw the orange ball get used in the home opener of Minnesota. Really not used to it. It's kind of hard to watch that game with the orange ball. It's not HD friendly, let's put it that way. Maybe yellow is the way to go, but we'll see. But Atlanta, don't give him, they don't care about possession. Because they can hit you on the counter and they're clinical. Well, they were on Sunday. 6-1. Jeez. I almost felt bad. And even Jacob Peterson, when he scored the goal, and yeah, it's 4 minutes in extra time. At the 94th minute, he scored the 6th goal for Atlanta. He didn't jump and celebrate. He was like, all right, Sorry, like I couldn't not score. Like it was right in front of me. I had to bury it, but I'm not gonna do a dance at least. I'm just gonna all right. It's like the mercy rule at that point. You're like, all right, call it the game already. Almiron with a 2 goals performance. Martinez for a 2 goal performance. Kevin Molino did bury that PK. Jacob Peterson, like mentioned earlier, finished. Martinez got the hat trick actually. So 3 goals for Jose Martinez. 2 changes by Martino on the starting 11. The pressing of the fullback of Atlanta, that pressure they put in the midfield to create turnovers to get that counterattack chance, that was impressive against Minnesota. But so far, both teams who played against Minnesota were impressive. But for Portland, they were impressive this week too. We'll get to it. So was it just because Portland is good and they were playing against Minnesota that were terrible? But maybe Minnesota was better. We don't know. But now Atlanta, which we saw them perform very decently, lost 2-1 against the Red Bull in the first week of the season. This time around, they totally dominated. Even scored more goals than Portland did. So where's Atlanta? Between New York and Portland. I know geographically it's nothing to do with that, but what I mean is to truly assess Atlanta, well, we can't do it yet. Because we can't really assess Minnesota either. Because Minnesota might have played against 2 very good teams. So has Atlanta, though. Well, not necessarily Minnesota, but it's New York. So Atlanta lost their first game of the season against the leaders of the Eastern Conference in Major League Soccer. Minnesota lost their first game of the season against. Are they the leader? Against the leader of the Western Conference. So maybe we're harsh on Minnesota, but we're not. It was actually 6 deserved goal. They couldn't defend to save their lives. Missed assignments. Way too skilled players left with way too much time with the ball at their feet close to the box. With a chance to run at the goalkeeper too. You cannot give Miguel Almiron a one-on-one chance with the goalkeeper. Well, if we didn't know before, now we know. Now we know. Minnesota can't defend, and Atlanta can counter. So that will be maybe fascinating. Like, think about the matchups of how this team plays, the clinical aspect of their counterattack. With great, I want to see that rematch against the Red Bulls. It could be fascinating going forward. Because that's how Montreal got the Red Bulls out of the playoffs. This season can shape out to be quite interesting. Because Atlanta, with all the hype, even with all the hype, could turn out to be for real. That is quite impressive. Last game on the docket in week number 2 in Major League Soccer, Diego Chara for the Portland Timbers scored an early goal once again. This time it was against the LA Galaxy. Turned out to be the game winner, but the game changed. 31st minute, unsporting behavior by Yellow Van Dam. It was a hard tackle. Gets called for it, mistimed. 3 minutes later, 3 minutes later for the new designated player of the LA Galaxy, new captain as well. 3 minutes later, mistimes another tackle. This time he impedes the guy who's going to go, has a lot of space in front of him to run in midfield. And the way he did that tackle had to be a yellow card. 2 yellows in 3 minutes. Yele, you're out. And LA is now down to 10 men at home. Should have been more than 1, though, for Portland. They got greedy on 2-on-1s, decided to do everything on the one and not pass to the other. Could have got at least 2 more goals out of that game. They didn't, but they got the most important one, the game-winning goal. Diego Chara with an easy tap in. You had Valeri coming into the left side of the field. Chara was on the right, 2-on-1 with a defender between them. Valeri waited just at the perfect time where there was just about 4 feet space between the goalkeeper and the defender, just enough to make the through ball go through to an all alone Diego Chara taps it in about 4 yards away. And it's 1-0 Timbers. And that's how the week finishes. Week number 2. And now, after 2 weeks, we can look. Because, well, you know what? It's always important to know where you stand. And after 2 weeks, we kind of know where teams are standing. In the Eastern Conference, at the top of the table, undefeated, 2 wins for the New York Red Bulls, 6 points with a +2 differential for a record of 2 wins. No draws, no defeats. Chicago Fire, 4 points after 2 games, second in the Eastern Conference with a goal differential of 2. Atlanta United, 3 points. They have a 4 differential, and they are in third position in the Eastern Conference on a draw with New York City FC with 3 points as well. Big win, but Atlanta and New York City tied in third and fourth. Fifth position in Orlando. They haven't played this week, so we don't know where they stand truly, but they do have that win in their home opener in week 1. So 3 points in fifth position. 6, Philadelphia Union, 2 points. 2 draws. Toronto FC, same, 7th, 2 points. 2 draws, both with a nil differential. 2 draws. That's what happened. The Montreal Impact are in 8th position in the Eastern Conference with 1 point. Goal differential of -1. Columbus Crew, 1. I think we forgot to talk about the Columbus Crew game. Did we? No, we did. They lost to Columbus. They lost to Dynamo. That's how non-noteworthy that Columbus Crew performance was. I even forgot that I had talked about it. 1 point for the Crew in 9th position. DC United 1 point as well in 10th. And the Revolution finish off the Eastern Conference standing at 11th with 0 points. In the West, take a trip where it's warmer. West Coast. Portland Timbers, 6 points, top of the Western Conference, tied with the Houston Dynamo. Portland Timbers are first on differential with a goal differential of 5. The Houston Dynamo, 6 points with a goal differential of 3. San Jose Earthquakes with 2 home games, 2 wins out of Via Stadium with 2 as a goal differential in third. FC Dallas, 4 points. Goal differential of 1 win, 1 draw. After 2 games, the Rapids, 3 points, a differential of 0. They are 1 win and 1 loss. Kansas City, 6th position, 2 draws with a differential of 0. When you're looking at the Seattle Sounders now in 7th position, 1 point against Montreal with a differential of -1. Vancouver Whitecaps, 8th with 1 point, -1 differential. Real Salt Lake in 9th position with 1 point, -2 their differential. Galaxy, 10. What's going on in LA? Now Van Damme suspended for the next game. Transition might be harder than expected. So far, no good. And Minnesota, speaking of so far, no good. 11th position. But 22nd to be quite precise, with a goal differential of -9 after 2 games. 11 goals conceded, but you know what? At least they scored a goal in every game they played. Yes, that would be accurate. That's an accurate statement. But Minnesota's going to have a very long year, very long season. Like so tough that something's going to happen. They're going to have to sign some players this summer. That's how tough it might be if we take the first 2 weeks as an indicator of where Minnesota actually is. You can follow me on Twitter at Kev Laramee and follow the show at SportsPodNet at Soccer Today SPN. And you can find all the shows that we do here on the Sports Podcast Network at sportspodcastnetwork.com. And now it's been 2 days. I decided to venture back into the writing world. Be kind. You can follow my written work at CanadianSoccerNews.com. And until tomorrow, around 7 p.m., maybe 6 for Soccer Today, I am Kevin Laramee. Have a great soccer. Thanks for listening. You were listening to SPN, the Sports Podcasting Network. Visit us, sportspodcastingnetwork.com.